All right, I'm back. Can everybody hear me now? Before we start telling the story, we need to make sure we can hear. I was having technical difficulties with the phone. Do I have anybody on here? Yes, Caroline, can you tell me if you can hear me? Or Mandy, somebody. Last time I tried, okay, you can hear me. When I tried the last one, everybody said there was no sound. So I'm gonna work through my issues here. So to recap what we were talking about, I'm not gonna go all through it, but because I don't know when the sound went out. This is my house here in the back that we're working on. And I took it out of the device because I'm afraid I might have pushed a button and had the device make a mess. So that's the house. I'm going to turn you around so you don't see the top of my head. This is our house that's getting there, and we're working on it. It's not going to be that much bigger than our old house was, but it looks a lot bigger because we have more than 3 walls now. So very, very exciting. And what I said before that apparently nobody could hear before is that the electric wires were getting laid underground yesterday. So from this pole all the way down Lawton Lane, all the way around across Howard Street, and down there by Leila's house was dug up, and it was probably a 16-inch, 18-inch hole trench in the ground that 2 feet that was getting the cable put in there. So that was exciting going on yesterday. But we're going to talk about what the road used to look like, and we've got Philip here, and he's going to tell you a story about an old Ocracoke event.
Let's walk up here to this historic site on the island. Right now we are at the curve on Howard Street, right where Lawton Lane comes into Howard Street. What happened was, in August of 1925, my grandfather, who was a surfman with the U.S. Coast Guard, late that afternoon, I think it was August 22nd, he was assigned beach patrol. And he didn't often do this, but he asked my father, who at that time was just 14 years old, oh, here comes a car.
We're going to back up.
He asked my father, who was just 14 years old, if he would like to join him at beach patrol. So they got the horse out, old Bill, and rode the horse out to the beach. When they got to the beach, my grandfather's job was to walk along, get off the horse, walk along the beach, always with an eye out to see if there were any ships in distress. That was his job. And as they walked along the beach, they saw a 4-masted schooner offshore. And my grandfather stopped to take a look at it to see what was going on. And it was traveling south. And then as they watched, the boat unexpectedly tacked and turned around and started heading north, which was an unusual maneuver for a ship offshore here. So my grandfather continued to watch the ship. And after some time, it tacked again and started heading south. And when it did that the second time, and actually did it a third time, my grandfather turned to my father and said, "Son, mark my words. The captain of that ship is just waiting for nightfall, and he's going to run the ship aground for the insurance money." But by that time, it was the end of my grandfather's tour of duty. And they came back into the village, and another surfman went out to do the beach patrol. My grandfather went to the dormitory at the Coast Guard station, went to sleep. My father came home and went to sleep here at home. First thing in the morning, my grandfather was awakened with the news, "Ship ashore, ship ashore." And they all got out of their beds and went to the beach. And sure enough, 4-masted schooner. The name of it was the Victoria S. The Victoria S had run aground in the surf at Ocracoke here. As it turned out, all 7 sailors from the Victoria S were rescued, but in the rough surf, the ship eventually broke apart and its cargo, it was carrying rough cut pine lumber, and all the pine lumber washed overboard and started washing up on the beach. The owners of the cargo were notified, and this was sometime in September now when this happened, several weeks after the wreck. They sent a steamer down to Ocracoke on the sound side, and there was a dock near where the NCAT building is today. There was a dock out there, and the steamer came there, and their job was to get the lumber picked up from the beach, brought to the schooner.
Brought to the steamer.
To the steamer, to the steamer. In 1925, there were only 2 vehicles on Ocracoke. Mr. Albert Styron, who started Albert Styron's store, he had a flatbed truck, an old Model T flatbed. And Mr. Bill Gaskell, who had the Pamlico Inn, also had a flatbed truck.
How many paved roads?
Oh, there weren't any paved roads on Ocracoke. All the roads were sand. But they were hired by the owners of the cargo to drive out onto the beach, pick up as much of the lumber as they could, pull it, bring it back to the steamer, and then unload it, and then drive back to the beach and get another load. Step back here a minute. In 1925, the main thoroughfare through Ocracoke Village was this road that today we know as Howard Street. But in those days, even into the 1970s, this road was deep, soft sand, and it was very easy to get a vehicle stuck in this road. Over the years, we've put shells and stones and other material in the road to try to harden it up, and we've done a great job of that. But in 1925, excuse me, it was very, very soft sand. Well, one day in September, Mr. Albert Styron had just driven his truck out to the beach, loaded it up with lumber that he picked up on the beach from the Victoria Ass. And at about the same time, Mr. Bill Gaskell had just unloaded his pickup truck, or flatbed truck, at the steamer. And each of them turned around. Mr. Bill Gaskell was coming back towards the beach. Mr. Albert Styron was coming back into the village. And right here on Howard Street, right in front of Stacy and Elizabeth's house, the road was not only particularly soft, but as you can see, there was a curve, a blind curve here.
How far can you see down this road?
Not very far. And Mr. Albert Styron, who was coming from the beach this way, when he approached this sand curve, he laid on the accelerator as fast as he could to get around this curve without getting stuck. And at the same time, Mr. Bill Gaskell was coming the other direction, and he also smashed down on the accelerator to get around this curve without getting stuck. And that's how it happened in September of 1925, with only 2 vehicles on Ocracoke. Ocracoke had its very first automobile accident, a head-on collision, in September 1925.
So when you come to the island and you see us locals driving around, you might want to be careful, right? No, we've gotten to be better drivers since then. And you really can't blame them, because it really, really was soft sand. And if they hadn't stepped on the gas around there, they probably would have bogged down and gotten stuck.
Mr. Irvin Garrish told me he was a child in one of those vehicles, and when they hit each other, he went through the windshield.
Oh my gosh.
But he survived. He was okay. There weren't any real injuries.
Irvin Garrish?
Irvin Garrish.
He survived and later came to be County Commissioner of First County Commissioner of Hyde County.
The highway's named after him.
So Highway 12 is also called Irvin Garrish Highway. So that is the story. I'm going to walk down Howard Street just a little bit and show them where Irvin Garrish's house is. I know we've walked down Howard Street before, and I'm sorry for the bumpiness. Ever since we've played around with my new fancy device, the first day it worked perfectly, and then I think I've pushed a button that I need to figure out. So I'm sorry, yesterday was kind of lopsided, and today the sound didn't work quite right. So I will do my YouTube videos and figure that out. But you can see here on the ground where the roots have gotten dug up and where the cable went. And of course the Howard Street sign. And here we go. I think they've got that house ready to rent. We're just going to walk right down to Irvin Garrish's road. Oh, here's where the cable went. You can see those new pipes going up there. Whoa, way up there. Another little graveyard in here. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite stories here in the story of the car crash with two vehicles on the island. And the roads didn't actually get paved until the 1950s. At some point, I'll walk you down the very first paved road. It went from what we used to call the base docks, down where the ferry docks are, down around British Cemetery Road and Back Road and what's now Sunset, down like you're going towards Oyster Creek. But we'll walk down, we'll do the whole stretch at some point in time. And here is this cute little house. They keep it so nice. They were just here, the homeowners, fixing it up, making sure it looked good. And there's Puck waiting at the door. Well, Puck's waiting at the door to get in. The cute little Ocracoke yellow house. And this is one of my favorite fences. I love this fence with all the lichen growing on it. It is quite warm today, sunny. Just a little bit of a breeze. The breeze feels really, really nice. Got a little put away, some things put away, cleaned up in the shop today, trying to make it look presentable. And here we go. This was Irvin and Elsie Garish's house. And as a child, I remember often my grandfather would walk me down to the community store. He would often drop coins in the street, which I picked up thinking that I'd found some treasure. I didn't realize for years that he was the one dropping them. And then we would pass by Irvin and Elsie's, and they'd always be sitting out on that swing, rocking, and it was just a lovely scene. And this house is a rental now. They've fixed it up really nicely. It did flood during Dorian, so they're gonna get it raised up, but probably not until the fall. And then I'll turn it. They fixed this house up too. This is a rental. These are all rentals here. The tree house and the Hidden Jewel. The Hidden Jewel is a great upper deck that you can see out over the harbor. Beautiful, beautiful view. And then again down to the end of Howard Street. Elsie and Irvin have a great fig tree in their yard. I think it's still quite vibrant back there. Yeah, it looks a little bare right now with leaves, but it'll probably come back. Some lovely jasmine, and then here where the Westerfelt's house was. It's always sad to see the empty spaces around here. And then, well, shoot. Since I've gone this far, you guys might as well get a view of the harbor while we're here, right? Wouldn't want to turn around right now. So there are the ducks. There's some geese babies, goslings, out on the main highway. When you're going out into the beach, you have to be careful because they're feeding right next to the road. So you don't want to make them not be there anymore. So you can hear the breeze is a little stronger here. That's why I love living back on Howard Street, because when storms come, you're really, really protected from the wind. Of course, in the summertime, you miss the breeze. And by tomorrow, I'll have everything figured out, hopefully, so that you get sound and at the correct direction and not bouncy. Back in the, I forget what it's called. I call it the device. But we'll have it all hopefully ready for you to go tomorrow. Yeah, and the treehouse, the family is there. So I had a question about the treehouse on Howard Street. The family is there, so I didn't want to get too invasive with the camera. I've got a couple small children. So there you go. There is the beautiful harbor getting towards sunset. All right, thank you guys. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but we'll get it figured out, and we'll try out the perfect walk tomorrow. Okay? Thanks.